Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, Season 11, Episode number 56. He's Dave Bryan. I'm Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com. Glad you guys are back with us on this Monday, Steelers Nation. And Dave, I had asked the question rhetorically, really, several weeks ago, could the Steelers sustain their offense with really only the quick pass game, no vertical game, no run game? And the answer we're finding out is a resounding no, as the Steelers lose to the Bills on Sunday night, 26-15, fall to 11-2 on the year, second place in the AFC, passed up by the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot to shake our fists at today, Dave.
Yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Look, you got to, what I've said all season, you got to be able to push the football down the field. They're not able to do this, and when you throw in the inability for several weeks now to not be able to run the football in any situation, any kind of play call, when it comes to executing that, then you have what is essentially your third string guard in there at left guard for a good portion of the second half. And you have a quarterback that's not willing to throw the football down the field very often. That you get what you get there. You're very reliant on yards after catch, and when you have a couple of guys that continue to drop the football, eligibles, and then you have an offense that only converting, I don't care who you are offensively, what your play calling is, whatever. If you're only converting 1 of 10 third downs in the game, odds are probably pretty damn good you're not going to win that game. And that was the Steelers situation, 1 of 10 on third downs. There's only one positive stat I think you can really pick out of that game offensively for the Steelers, and that was the fact that they were 2-2 inside the red zone. Other than that, not a lot of positive takeaways to talk about offensively.
And air quotes here, only 3 drops. So that's an improvement if I really want to try to look at the silver lining of things. But we'll talk about those drops and how they impacted Deontay Johnson specifically. Before we do that, though, talk about some of the pre-game roster moves that were made. Steelers activated UG3 off of IR to the 53, elevated linebacker T. Gray Scales also to the active roster. He dressed, did not play anything on defense, and put Robert Spillane, suffered that injury in the second half against Washington, on IR, so he will miss at least 3 games. He will not be able to return at the earliest until the Week 17 finale against Cleveland. So good to get UG3 back to help with some of the issues at inside linebacker, but of course not having Spillane for 3 games is an obvious loss, and this team's hurting at a lot of places right now.
Yeah, them not having Spillane is not what lost them this game, by any stretch of magic. I thought, hey, we'll see what the all 22 tape says and all. I don't think Avery Williamson was the reason why the defense gave up the points that they gave up. I mean, he led the team in tackles. Not very impact. Look, I mean, you only got Josh Allen down on the ground one time, and luckily you were able to get the football away from him on that one time. You just couldn't come up with it once you did get it loose from him. I had written in my 5 keys, and I titled it four on the floor, basically meaning, and I think we talked about this as well too, they had to find a way to get pressure on Josh Allen in this game without having to blitz so much, in my opinion. Now, to their credit, in the first half of this game, whether they were sending 4, 5, or 6, or sometimes I think maybe even 7, maybe once in that first half, they were able to get consistent pressure on Josh Allen in the first half of that game. Now, the second half, I mean, it was Blitzburg City, if you will, there. And one thing we had talked to our, the beat writer with earlier in the week was the fact that Josh Allen has gotten a lot better at picking up the blitz and getting that football out, and that showed, I think, in the second half of that game. If you're having to blitz consistently like that in order to force the football out or whatnot, and if you don't have the coverage to go on the back end, if you're leaving that secondary out to hang out to dry, you get what you had happen. And I think they were way too aggressive in the second half blitzing, and I think Josh Allen ate them up in that aspect.
I agree. Allen is definitely not the same quarterback he was even last year in that late season meeting, and he adjusted extremely well in the second half. And I have a lot to say about the adjustments and what Washington and Buffalo has done to this defense in the second half, but probably touch on that a little bit later in the show. From an inactive standpoint, no major surprises. Anthony McFarland did not dress. That is really not a shock considering James Conner and Jalen Samuels were both available. That's kind of how things were before those guys were dealing with injuries or Conner landing on COVID. So been a more difficult year for McFarland, no doubt, but I look at the context of, he's a redshirt sophomore, he's the underclassman of the group, and so he's going to have a longer learning curve than some of those other guys.
Yeah, not a fan of having Samuels play the amount of snaps that he played as it turned out. Now, obviously, the game circumstances played a lot into it, but Samuels played 46% or so of the snaps. He had the lion's share of the running back snaps in that game. If you would have told me that was going to be the case before the game started, I would have told you that probably one or two of the backs got injured, or the Steelers were way behind in the second half, which they were. Jalen Samuels is not a guy that's going to put the fear of God in any opposing defenses as a runner or as a pass catcher overall, and definitely not as a pass protector either. So that's a bit curious that it played out that way. I put on Twitter this morning. Mike Tomlin has made a point several times this season to say that James Conner was the bell cow back. Well, we're not seeing that, are we? Just yet. Now, I don't know how dinged up or conditioning wise, Conner might be dealing with, or coming back from the COVID list and all, but he had the second most amount of snaps in that game.
Yeah, that was curious. To be fair, though, nothing Steelers running back or run game related puts the fear of God in defenses with the woeful outputs that we're getting time and time again. Steelers now this year have had 5 games of under 50 yards rushing. That is a first time in franchise history they've had at least 5 games in a season of being held under 50 yards rushing. I mean, 2.8 yards per carry, I think it was against Buffalo. This is as I said before, a small menu of things that work well for the Steelers offense, and really that has only been the quick game, and even that has not been where it needs to be the last 2 weeks, and especially was pretty poor against Buffalo.
Look, what'd you think on the first offensive play? I understand why you call that. You want to get the kid in you want to get Deontay Johnson going right out to shoot, give him a nice easy catch over there on the outside, get him into the game, right out off the shoot there. But and then he drops it. I mean, what are you thinking personally right when that happens?
My first thought was, well, we'll see if Tomlin was serious about the whole bench him comments. And, Johnson didn't get benched right away for that, but then he had a drop on, I think, the second drive or third drive, whenever it was, and that sent him to the bench for the rest of the half and didn't come back until the second half. So, you had 3 more drops in this game, 2 by Deontay, 1 by Ebron, the latter third by Ebron on third down, no less. And so, again, bad on possession downs, no big plays, no run game. Ben was not good. I mean, you put all that together and you get a pretty terrible casserole.
2 of those drops came on third downs.
Deontay's second one came on third down. And he would have had the first down on that had he caught it.
I think so. Even though he would have caught the ball 3-4 yards short of the sticks, I think his defender was kind of falling down or in a heck of a trail position at that point. And, he's trying to run with the football again before having possession of it. Now the Ebron one, a little bit tougher catch, but you got to make that, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was an easier catch than the one JuJu didn't have the week prior on the third down and long one there. So would those two catches have really changed a lot in the outcome of the game? Probably not, but they keep drives along that much, you eat up clock a little bit more in those situations. Maybe you get an opportunity to run a couple more run plays in those situations there. So, there you go. You just can't. You can't drop the football, and you got to be able to convert possession downs.
And to your point about Deontay, that's a good one because, I know JuJu earlier this week had said, that they had dialed in the issue with the drops, at least in part, was that guys were trying to get upfield right away in this short, quick game offense because they're trying to see where space is, where the next defender is, and what move they can make. And on both of Johnson's drops, he had taken his eyes off the football, trying to get upfield. And so he's just got to be more focused. Again, he does not have terrible hands in a vacuum. He can make some really difficult catches. I've said it, a couple weeks ago. He makes the tough catches look easy, and the easy catches look tough. And he's a high variance dude, and he's a talented guy. And you don't want to just give up on him, obviously, but he's got to be more focused, more dialed in, and not put too much pressure on himself now either. Although that'll be tough to do because you don't want to, be so just concerned and worried about drops that you just become an ineffective player and kind of get the yips. So this will be a big moment in time for Johnson these next couple of games.
Well, he has the yips. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, right. He does. He's got the Steve Blast disease.
The guy's lacking confidence right now. I think Ben's starting to really, really question him right now. And look, I DM'd you guys this last night. He's not going to see a second contract. I can already tell you right now. There's no way that kid sees a second contract with the Steelers. I'll be absolutely shocked if he does. He's great, great after the catch when he does catch the ball, making guys miss. Has good separation off the line in certain instances. Can win at times over the top, but you read his body language. Everything about him. There's no way that kid gets a second contract. I know that's years off from now, but if you're going to be elite in this league, you got to make catches. You got to make them consistently. Hell, he's got more drops now, I think, in his career than maybe AB had his entire career with the Steelers there. And where are those wow catches at? There was a point, maybe it was earlier in the season or whatnot, a couple of nice catches, that he had, and people say, well, maybe shades of AB there. No, it's not even in the same realm, right now. And unless he's got to straighten this out, and having him off the field, look, Tomlin had no choice but to sit him down. You have to follow up on those kind of threats there, but it really takes a lot of what the Steelers like to do offensively out of the game when he's out of the game like that.
Yeah, he is one of your best quick game guys where you hopefully can get the ball to him short in a one-step, three-step game and let him, do damage after the catch. And if he's not available, then you have some bigger, less, twitchy kind of guys in space, and that does limit you for sure. But, I agree. You had to bench him. You had to send the message. You had to follow through on the threats you made. But it's just hard to find guys to trust overall on offense right now. Who do you trust in this offense? JuJu, James Washington?
James Washington's about it.
That's about it. That's the list. And for a team with so much talent, it's hard to believe you only trust really one or two guys right now.
Right, and then you look at Ben. Overall, the last few games ahead, before this, I thought Ben has played okay. But this one, Ben did not play a good game at all. He does not want to go downfield with the football, and when he does, he's underthrowing way too much where he's off target once again. That throw late, his last interception of the game to James Washington, You got to hit that, man, and
Mm-hmm.
don't tell me you're looking off. Look, he's looked off the safety how many different times throughout this year, and if there's ever a situation where that's perfect for Ben, it's that one. Now we don't have the all 22 yet on that particular play, but we do have the dots, you know.
Mm-hmm.
On that. That single high safety is cheated to the other side of the field there in his press coverage, and James got a good outside release. James Washington had a good outside release on that play there. Ben's got to get back around that. He's got to step into that throw a little bit better, and that's got to be a home run touchdown because there's not many James Washington is not the quickest guy, Z receiver in the league, but when he has a wide receiver stack like he had that corner stacked on that play, that's got to end up in the end zone right there, and instead it ends up in an interception.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously the vertical game has not been there, and I know your question of Ben's got to throw it deep more, but the results aren't there. So as Ben's saying, that's not working. So I'm not going to try to test the deep ball as often. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll have to look at some of the all 22 in this one, but yeah, on that play in particular, he wanted to go short to Deontay on the slant, but Buffalo dropped out as so many teams are beginning to do on third and short to rob some of the quick games. So that was the second read, and he tried to throw it up, and yeah, it just was a bad pass and got picked.
He's got to come off that first read quicker, and he's got to get that football out. He didn't do a good job stepping into that throw either. He continues not to like the middle of the field more than 10 yards down the field. I think he only completed what I write 3 passes of more than 10 yards down the field in this game. Now, Josh Allen only completed three of those as well too. But Josh Allen also had the 30-something yard pass interference penalty that really was a should have been a gimme touchdown in that situation. I think they only came away with 3 points in that situation after the smoke cleared on that. But you got a wide receiver on the outside, and Chase Claypool leads the NFL in pass interference penalties drawn, pass interference penalty yardage drawn, and then you have a guy in James Washington winning a one-on-one battle, which, once again, how many times have we said Ben's favorite situation is a single high safety with man on the outside and receiver getting a free release, and those are ideal situations. It's not like you're asking them to whole shot a cover two throwing this. And in a game where we talked about explosive plays, you have to have them. Heck, we said 4 or 5 explosive plays probably the Steelers had to have in this game. They had one. So, okay, throw on top. You're converting 1 of 10 on third down, and you have 1 explosive play in the game.
That talk stat probably isn't looking too good right now. Yeah,
I mean, and you even had 2 takeaways on the other side of it that you probably feel a little bit blessed to have had in that game, and you still can't do anything. Yeah, they were exactly three big plays away from winning this football game, and that might sound like a low number, but it looks gigantic. When you go back and you watch what transpired in this game. So the drops, the failure to convert third downs. I mean, there's a whole bunch of everything. It's not just Ben missed James Washington on a deep throw later in the game is the reason why they lost this football game, obviously. But it's just a culmination of a lot of things now with this, and really it's been going on for a few weeks now. They can't stretch the field, they can't run the football, and then you throw on top of it not be able to convert third downs, and then obviously the drops on top of it. The offensive line not providing good protection overall, not be able to run. It's just it's a mess right now offensively.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a good correlation between inability to convert on third down when you can't run the football, when your pass game is so limited, and the quick game has not been as effective either, like it was against Baltimore in the first game, or things like that. Again, defenses are adjusting, Steelers are dropping too many passes, they're not making many plays after the catch, and so the quick game, which has been the bread and butter for this offense, the thing they've relied on, has not been working. And obviously the most significant plays, what Tomlin called it, was Ben's pick 6 at the end of the half, or end of the first half, because you felt pretty good. You were up 7-3, you had the ball, you were driving, you get a field goal or a touchdown or something, really kind of, go into the half feeling pretty good. And then Ben tries to throw a little quick out route to JuJu out of a bunch set and throws it behind, and Taron Johnson picks it off and houses it the other way. And that was, you took the air out of your sail in that one, and that kind of felt like you had a real uphill battle the rest of the way, because obviously they did have an uphill battle the rest of the way.
As bad as things had gone, and as really as ugly as that game was in the first half for both teams, right?
Very sloppy.
Very, very, very sloppy football. You felt some sense of, okay, well, they're driving here or not driving, but they were starting a drive kind of late in the first half there, and you're thinking, all right, maybe if they go down and get 3, you're going to feel a little bit better. Or at worst, you pin Buffalo back, and then you go into halftime with a what was it, 7-3.
7-3.
Yeah, 7-3 at that time. And then the worst single thing happens there, and Bennett kind of lollipopped a couple of throws, I think, in there, and really, they baited him into that. Regardless of the decision in the throw, it happened. They run it back for a score, and then you're thinking, oh Lord, as bad as the first half was offensively, it really got bad in one play there, and then you're wondering, are they going to be able to move the football at all? From that point forward there. So, yeah, I mean, at least, and then I that Buffalo's going to get the ball after halftime, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was where I became even angrier, but I'll let you, because I know where you're going with this one, I'll let you rant about this one.
I mean, I don't think it takes a rocket surgeon to figure it out there, Why are you just kind of sitting on the football at that point, Buffalo's going to get the ball after the break. At least try to do something there instead of just sit on the football.
Yeah, the first play was the draw to Jalen, and I think they ran one pass after, a little short crosser, and went into the half. I mean, for a guy that doesn't live in his fears, I don't know why Tomlin was so conservative in this game. He was punting on 4th down in Buffalo territory. The end of the half sequence was, to me, unacceptable. You're down. You can at least try to get points there. If you get a field goal, you got 2 timeouts, 50 seconds on your 25 with Ben. Let's go try to make a play. So I don't know why you went into the half. You're saying, let's end the half on that pick 6. I mean, that's not making you feel good. That's not giving you any sort of note to go out on, and it is obviously to put points on the board. So I don't know why Tomlin would choose that course.
And then when Buffalo comes out, what a huge second half possession that was for them, right?
Yeah.
That really, really, really sets the tone at that point there, because they come out and they face a Steelers defense that decides to not really change anything what they did in the first half, which was send numbers after. Look, I was surprised, Alex. I don't know about you. I mean, I don't think that you go into that first half with the idea of not blitzing and not sending some numbers after Allen, but I think you got to be a little bit judicious of when to send that. But man, they just and to their credit, they were getting pressure with 4, 5, 6, and I think even 7 one time in that first half. But you continually to do that in the second half, and they come out. And that's when Diggs comes alive. That's when that short passing game of theirs. Josh Allen did a good job of either getting the football out, or B, extending the play and then getting rid of football. And then he just ate them alive. I mean, that was Allen to Diggs drive, pretty much there. And I thought in this game that you weren't. I knew that you weren't going to shut Diggs out. This wasn't going to be a situation like the Terry McLaurin situation last week with Washington. But even so, you had to hold that guy to six catches, 70 yards, maybe, no explosive plays, and definitely no touchdowns. And heck, it felt like he got 6 for 70 and a touchdown all on that one drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably pretty close. I don't know what the numbers were, but in back-to-back weeks, the Steelers defense has allowed a touchdown out of the half, and it's been a very similar story against Washington. And in Buffalo. And well, I think obviously a lot of the focus should go on the offense for their immense struggles right now. I don't want to absolve the defense either. I have the article up on Steelers Depot this morning. In the first half of the last 2 weeks against Washington and Buffalo, the Steelers defense has allowed 6 points. In the second half, the last 2 weeks against Washington and Buffalo, Steelers defense has allowed 37 points. And if you look at some of the splits between Alex Smith and Josh Allen, especially, Allen was terrible in the first half. And
right,
turned things around in the second half. I mean, I can pull up some of the numbers here. But yeah, and was it the Steelers blitz too much? I'll have to look at some of the charting and stuff like that to really dial in some of the numbers. Obviously, it felt like it was a bit too much, but I did think the rush lane integrity was poor as well, where Allen was able to escape the pocket too often, make plays to his right, and you can't allow a guy with that good of an arm to be able to do that, including on the PI by Mike Hilton in the end zone on that third down on a crucial play. I mean, Allen cannot be able to escape the pocket there. But yeah, Allen's quarterback rating in the first half was 34. His quarterback rating in the second half was 127.5. And Alex Smith, similar story. First half quarterback rating against Washington, 81.3. Second half, 102.4. So not as stark of a difference, but a bigger difference there. And so the second half adjustments and just defense overall has not been up to par.
Were you surprised at how often they sent numbers in that game?
I did. I mean, sometimes you have to look, is it because a back staying in or a tight end staying in? I mean, there are those occasional green dog stuff that needs to be evaluated. But, yeah, I was surprised, at least
in the second half, at least? I mean,
in the second half, yeah, of how heavy some of the interior pressure was.
Right.
In terms of blitzes.
Yeah, look, you hate to make the comparison there, but there were times in that game where Josh Allen looked like a young Ben Roethlisberger, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, and that's been the comparison for a while now.
You know, able to extend the play, a big body guy, kind of hard to get down on the ground when you do maybe get a hand on the jersey or whatnot, or you know, along those lines, you get some pressure on him. Just kind of fearless, stands in the pocket, takes the hit, and can deliver the football. Not afraid to push the football down the field deep overall. Makes you kind of envious when you see a young franchise quarterback like that and know that yours is on the back end of it. I mean, when's the last time Ben extended the play other than maybe stepping up in the pocket and doing something like he did against the Bengals that seems like
eon ago.
Seems like over the summer that happened when he stepped up and made that play, that touchdown to JuJu in the pocket though. But all right, there was a report way earlier in the afternoon, and really I kind of yawn at most of the Jason Lockafor reports these days, and have for quite a while. I mean, he did have that kind of breaking news, I guess, about Minkah Fitzpatrick in the trades, earlier, last season or whatnot. But for the most part, I write them up because that's what we do. You know, that's our job. When a national report comes out like that, but it was still kind of vague overall. What's your thoughts on Ben Roethlisberger possibly having this knee issue?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely true. He's dealing with that knee injury, and that was the gist of Luckenfield's report, that the knee injury is fairly serious and it's really hamstringing this offense. And I remember, Jay Glazer a couple weeks ago saying that Tomlin had told him that he wasn't sure if Ben was going to play or not because of that knee stiffness he's dealing with. And there is a lack of mobility for sure, and you see kind of Ben limp around, but I don't know. I really don't use that as too much of an excuse. Ben's played hurt before. He's probably played through. His knees probably haven't been good since his second year. Like, it's just, the style of which he plays and the toll it's taken on his body. It's not like this is a team that relies on sprint right option all the time either. So it's not helpful for sure, but I'm not going to pretend like this knee injury is the reason why he's struggling or why the offense as a whole is struggling.
Right. Plus, I mean, he was on the injury report, but as not injury related. He was the week before, and there was a report from Jay Glazer, saying that he was extremely questionable, which I guess that means doubtful. I don't know what levels of questionable are there these days when it comes to an injury report there. He looked no worse for wear to me the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't point to many instances where I sit there and say, "Man, I mean, he didn't have this or that," and I'm relating that to the knee. I mean, the bigger issue is that Dave, unless you have an elite superstar quarterback, and as much as I love Ben, he's not at that level anymore. Unless you have a Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, you can't run the offense Pittsburgh's running right now, where you just tell your quarterback to make every single play without any sort of complimentary football. Where you drop 17 passes in the last 3 games, where your run game has been really the worst in football since Week 5. I mean, how do you expect to really have consistent, sustained success against good teams like that? I just think, obviously you can get away with that for a game or two, and that's fine. The first Baltimore game, it worked, and you take it, but that can't be your plan. And that is the Steelers' really plan right now, and that's just not sustainable.
Well, I'm not saying this is all on Ben. I'm saying it's I'm saying it's everything here.
Yeah. I'm making the broader point. I'm kind of diverging a bit here and just making the overall point of it's not really maybe the philosophy or the mentality, but the product is Ben go throw 40 plus times a game and make every single play, and you're just not going to win long term that way.
Well, that's what it evolves into or devolves into, I guess would be the proper maybe terminology there, because you cannot run the football, and because you have drops early in the game, you get down, Derek Watt played 0 snaps in this game. Are you surprised? Probably not, because you're down 2 scores after the Bills' first drive of the second half. So any maybe plans that you had to run the football went out the window real quick early in the second half there. And you're not converting third downs, or you're losing time of possession battle overall. Yeah, I mean you become reliant on the passing game to get you back into things, and then once again, that's when the whole Ben thing plays into the game of not wanting to push the football down the field. I mean, I think you're going to see in the All-22 that he missed a couple of guys in this game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Again, the pick six was thrown behind the deep ball to Washington, the deep ball overall, the few shots he took wasn't working. I do want to bring a little silver lining to this conversation around Ben, because I know there's a lot of people counting Roethlisberger out right now. And again, he played poorly against Buffalo. There's no denying that. But we've been down this road before, in 2018, 2017, the whole
the 5 interception game against Jacksonville.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to sit there and you still trust Ben. He's still your guy. He's still going to be your best shot to win a Super Bowl or to get a playoff win and go have a deep run. So I'm not going to assume that Ben's going to play this poorly all the time. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I could do without the whole post-game comments of, making references to retirement.
That's what he does.
I know. I'm already annoyed after the loss. I don't want to be more annoyed by stoking the flames about that kind of stuff. But whatever, who cares? But just to the larger point, I don't want to count Ben out, because we have been down this road before, and I think a lot of people who counted Ben out back then look pretty foolish ultimately.
Well, once again, it devolves so quick in this game when you have the drops, and then you can't run. I mean, they just can't run. Plain and simple, no. They can't run. They're not going to be able to run.
James Conner, 10 carries, 18 yards. First time in his career, college or pro, he's had fewer than 20 yards on 10 plus carries.
I mean, they can't run any. They can't run the pin and pull. They can't do any of it. So what do you do when your run game, isn't working?
Yeah, you have to throw, and your vertical game's not working, so you're not getting big chunk plays. So you're now forcing your offense to nickel and dime their way downfield, and again, that can work for a couple games against some lesser teams. But in terms of a long-term thing against some better teams, it's just not really sustainable. Then, of course, you throw in the drops that kill you as well, and if you guys aren't catching the quick game, then really, again, there's such a limited menu of things working for this offense right now.
I don't mind the run game alternatives that much,
sure.
But I mean, you got to catch the football, especially on the first play. I mean, there were a couple of screens that actually got 6, 7, 8 yards, I think, in this game, right? And then, but then you look at, what was it, the second play, the little pitch forward to Claypool. Ebron misses the block right out of the chute. And then he goes to the second level to try to get the next guy, but the first guy's already kind of blowing that play up there, and look, they can't even, we talk about pre-snap motion and all like that, they can't even get into any kind of rhythm of that. So, and by the second half, the running game's out the window, so you can't even use any of your pre-snap motion. You don't really have any elements of elite speed in there. You deactivate Anthony McFarland, so you can't do any of the stuff that we talked about, maybe about using him to do something to try to get the football out in space with him. And then, McLeod barely plays any offensive snaps, and every time you bring him in, it's like the red flashing light goes off on him as well. Really, the only, and how many bang eights can you run to James Washington or Eric Ebron? Those were two positive plays in the game, obviously, but you just can't continually run that stuff. And then when you're not having been able to push the football down the field, you're very reliant on run and catch.
Yeah, and the catch part of that has been a problem. And again, it's not like the Bills. The defense isn't terrible. I would call it average, maybe a little bit below. But their run defense was among the worst in football.
Oh yeah, you should have been you should have been able to run off of center or left guard in this game. If you can't run on teams like that, who can you run on?
Right, and I know that obviously they ended the game on their third string left guard in Hassenauer, and that makes things tough. Where they couldn't really run that well when Fowler or Dotson were in there. A little bit better, but marginally so, not the levels it needs to be. And I guess I should mention, at least because I don't know if I touched on it at the top, Matt Fowler, Kevin Dotson suffering pec injuries in this game. Tomlin did not have an update on their status. Of course, an article by Dr. Mel this morning breaking those things down. And so, God help us if J.C. Hassenauer has to start a game at left guard. Maybe they would turn to Darren Gray. I don't know, but it's just brutal there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Fowler, I tried to watch Dotson as much as I could on the TV tape once he came in the game, and I thought he was playing okay. Now he did get blown up. Was that the play he got injured on?
I'm betting he got hurt on that play because it's hard to see Dotson get blown up like that. I'm betting he pulled something as soon as he punched, and he got pushed back because of it.
Well, Dr. Mel went through and she said she couldn't find any instance on his injury there, and that's why she's maybe kind of hopeful that that it might not be serious when it comes in. But once again, this is a kid that played 50-something consecutive games at Louisiana Lafayette, and you have to think it'd be pretty, to drive him out of the game. He's, hurting pretty bad there, you would think. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there, and it's obviously hard. She obviously doesn't have access to any of the MRIs or whatnot, but at least she's got the feeling that maybe it's not super serious with Fowler, but I mean, even if he misses 2 games, I mean, can you get him back for the playoffs, and
right,
or can you at least get one of those guys back for the playoffs? I get one thing we didn't hit on so far in this show, I guess, and it's the most positive thing I think that happened on Sunday for the Steelers is they did clinch a playoff spot, so there is that.
And that was by way of the Chiefs beating the Dolphins.
Yeah, the single worst thing that probably could have happened. The team that you didn't probably necessarily want to win won, and but I mean, you are in. Look, you just got to use these next 3 weeks now. And look, are they going to get the number 1 seed? Probably not.
No, almost certain. Do you see KC losing again?
I mean, even if they do you see the Steelers running the table here?
Right. Even if they did, would KC still win out? Because they would each have 1 loss in conference play. Who has tiebreaker? I don't know who has tiebreaker. I don't want to get in the money.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure if Pittsburgh won out, if they would have the 1 seed still.
Yeah, what is it, like 5% chance now or something to get the number 1 seed, and that's really based on the Steelers running the table, I think, and the Chiefs losing at least 1 there. So,
right. I mean, do you think either of those things are going to happen?
No,
I really doubt it.
No.
Yeah, so it means you're going to be playing, 3 games there to get to the Super Bowl. And again, the way the offense is right now, I mean, nothing's working right now. But can you sustain an offensive attack for 3 straight games? Not at the current pace.
I think what you have to do in these final three games is find out find out what you can do and can't do offensively, and make that happen. You got to get some semblance of a running game, whether it be,
I don't know how to do that. I mean, it's been weeks.
Well, it's because there's so much wrong. Period.
Right. And now you have injuries too on top of it, mixing something. I mean, the good news is, at least you're not, 8-5, and you're in the middle of the playoff race, and you got to have wins right now. This team's gonna make the playoffs. They have some time to correct things, and if you get right for the playoffs, that's all that ultimately matters. That's the good news. The bad news is the things that are broken with this offense: the complete lack of a run game, the complete lack of a vertical passing attack. I don't know how you fix, because neither of those things have really worked well in months. And how do you correct them for the playoffs? I have no idea.
Ben, what has made Ben great quarterback throughout his career? What are key elements that have made Ben a great quarterback throughout his career?
Man, a lot of things. His toughness, his ability to go vertical, extend the play. Lately in the latter half of his career, some of the efficiency of the quick pass game. I think mentally he's become a sharper quarterback. There's a grab bag of stuff there. I don't know if you're looking for a specific answer, but go ahead.
No, I'm asking.
Okay. Yeah,
what does he have now? And obviously look, this team that you go back to the 2005 season at all, having some semblance of a running game.
They had a good running game back then.
Obviously helps, and then even on into I don't think they were great. 2000, his second Super Bowl that they won, but it was still better than what they had now. A good tight end is usually part of Ben Roethlisberger success, right?
Yeah, Heath Miller had obviously been around for the bulk of it, so absolutely.
Eric Ebron gonna make it. I've been kind of you see which way I've been going with this for a while now. Eric Ebron gonna see a second season with the Steelers. I know we're kind of way out there right now, but
we'll see how the rest of the season goes. One big game and everyone kind of jumps back on the bandwagon. Obviously, I think Vance is gone. Ebron certainly could be gone, but then you have nothing at tight end. So I think those decisions are still. I know most people are sitting here today saying, "Well, cut the guy. He's gone 100%." But again, I don't want to ride that roller coaster too much and have that knee jerk reaction. So we'll see.
What do you think? And this is way off the beaten path now, but what do you think about the reaction to Ebron with the post game there? I don't read too much into that bit, but after a loss, I understand why some fans are.
Yeah, it doesn't make you feel good whenever you see, it was weird because Ebron has to know that Allen's talking and, it's on camera there with the interview. And so
why draw attention? You're drawing attention to yourself. Is that the goal?
I don't know. I try not to think about that stuff too much. You got JuJu dancing pregame on.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Logo. Yeah.
To me, that's even worse than what.
Right.
I know he's making a habit of this, and you turn a blind eye to it when you're winning, but when you lose and the opposition comes out and says, "We saw that," know.
I think that's probably again that should end. I don't care that much. I think that's a lot of tinsel, but I think that's probably not wise to keep doing going forward.
For the most part, I don't have the issue with Juju's a kid. He's having fun, and I don't have an issue with social media stuff most of the time and all like that. But to me, you're kind of dragging it there, right? You kind of that's trolling right there, if you ask me. You purposely have somebody out there filming it. Who's filming that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's probably his personal photographer guy.
Well, can you have that in our COVID
That's true.
environment?
I have no idea who was filming it. Maybe a teammate.
Right?
Yeah, I guess. Overall, it's low on the list of issues, but could I live without that stuff? Sure. Especially JuJu dancing like that on the logo. Let's get a win, and then we can talk about dancing.
Yeah, look, he obviously didn't have slant, like the call in the red zone, on the touchdown with him is properly executed play, and obviously I thought James Washington, what a great route by him. We've seen that now a couple of times this season. We've gotten to a point right now where, and look, I like James Washington coming out of Oklahoma State and all like that. But at no point, especially heading into this season, did I think that I'd be talking about, boy, is James Washington the only one that you could trust?
Right.
Offensively, he's the only one making plays right now.
Well, I think JuJu's making some plays too.
Right, after the
But
catch. I mean, he's getting some hard yak after the catch, and obviously scoring in the red zone. But you see where I'm going.
Sure. Yeah, I get your point. And then Chase Claypool, a very quiet game for him. Now, his snap count wasn't as low as I thought it was. It was about 2/3 of the time, which is actually in line to where he's been playing for most of the year. But in the second half, when Deontay came back, Claypool didn't seem to play that much. And it seems like they're really making a direct choice between either James Washington is going to play or Chase Claypool is going to play, and less about trying to find ways to get both on the field. I know it's a little bit tougher because they're similar, they're similar Z-type receivers. But is there a way to try to find ways to get all those guys on the field? That's something to probably explore.
How much 10 did they run in the second half?
Probably none.
They
Because
should
Jalen
have.
played a lot in the second half. Yeah, I mean, they're choosing to put Jalen over Claypool.
They should have ran 0-0.
Real.
Really. I mean, what do you have to lose at this point than to run 5 wides now?
I mean, not much. I mean, obviously, I get your point. I mean, do you want to have, Chase Claypool on the field? Do you want to have Jalen Samuels on the field? I get Samuels for protection stuff, and, you can't always go empty, but, I mean, yeah.
Well, if your quarterback's not holding the football and not wanting to go down the field, what does it matter if you have a running back there? And even does it matter if you have a running back that can't pass protect?
Right, sure. And half the time Jalen just gets split out, so it's not like he's even in the backfield that much anyway in those passing situations.
So I would have been fine with them pulling Ebron off the field and going 5 wide and at least get McLeod out there and try to get some sort of mismatch. Go back to the end of the second half of the Baltimore game or whatnot. I mean that's what it's come down to now.
Yeah, I mean the problem is just the things we're suggesting. I don't disagree with them. Are just they're not really sustainable. I mean they are just so limited in what you can do, like just receivers only. And I mean you can only do a couple things right on offense right now. Even your sack streak ended and finally got sacked last night for the first time since week 8. So that streak is over. I think 275 pass attempts. But it's just not a lot. You can't stay on schedule. You can't be in rhythm. You can't convert possession downs. Those things all go hand in hand. Just not a lot working.
All right, we're chasing our tail here now when it comes to talking about the offense. Defensive side of football?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the first half was excellent. I mean, you can't even have the defense at all in the first half of that one. They got pressure. They got turnovers. They came Hayward. Pressure led to Mike Hilton's interception. I think you got points off of that one. In the second half, as we said, the blitz rate seemed to go up. Buffalo adjusted. And similar to the Washington game, I think the opponent came out with a better plan in the second half. I think Keith Butler has some great opening plans, but some poorer adjustments.
Yeah, once again, it goes back to what we said about the blitzing and all like that. And a big play in this game was the completion to Diggs that they didn't get him down on the ground. And Minkah Fitzpatrick goes in with his shoulder there. And who was also in on that play?
Nelson was covering him.
Okay, Nelson. But neither one of those guys got him down on the ground. Turns into a big look. Here's the thing, you did for the most part. Now you got to count the defensive pass interference as an explosive play, right?
Sure.
But other than that, what did they have? 1 explosive play, 2 explosive plays?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there was the Diggs play. You just referenced the PI. But obviously they really did not have a good way to slow down Stephon Diggs all game.
Let's see. They had the pass to Diggs for 23 yards, and then they had another pass to Diggs for 22 yards. So they had 2 explosive plays. They had really two almost explosive plays. Diggs had 4 catches for 19 yards or more.
Yeah, and obviously the second half of that first drive, as you said, it was a Diggs show. He was working on both Sutton and Steven Nelson. Nelson fell down, the touchdown that Diggs had, and yeah, just Steelers usually do a good job taking away the top weapons. This game, not so much.
Right. You got to get those guys down on the ground quick, and he did some damage after the catch on a couple of those catches.
Yeah, I mean, it was some of the big plays to Diggs. I thought overall, the Steelers did not do a good enough job containing Josh Allen in the pocket. The rush lane integrity was not good enough. I mean, if you look at the touchdown to, who was it? It was Gabriel Davis. Allen has all day. It's a 4-man rush. Highsmith gets shoved inside. It's a super clean pocket, and Allen can just pick apart the defense. And I mean, that's just not good rush lane integrity.
Right.
So anything else with the defense to talk about? TJ Watt, pretty quiet game. I thought Buffalo's had some of the better game plans of finding ways to slow down TJ Watt. Last year, I remember they really did a good job against Bud and Watt. This year, Watt was very quiet against Buffalo in terms of the stat sheet. So they're coming up with some good plans to slow down TJ Watt.
Yeah, I think Tua was kind of quiet in this game too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the numbers were. I really didn't even hear his name too much. Yeah, that's a good point. Cam Hayward had a good game. Highsmith had a couple of pressures, but I don't know how really good of a game he had. Again, some of the rush lane integrity stuff probably falls on him as well. Secondary play, Nelson. I mean, no one was really great. I mean, Hilton, I thought, played pretty well overall. PI was unfortunate, but you're facing Dawson Knox. I'm missing anything here?
Tua, no stats in this game.
Last time that happened. That's interesting. And they lost their center in that one, Morse. I mean, he came back, I think, later.
He did come back in the game.
Yeah. I thought Williamson did play okay. I mean, 11 tackles. He was physical. I thought his hit power, leverage, ability to drive and finish is pretty strong.
I didn't think Marcus Allen played all that terrible.
No, and it's kind of nice to have some of his speed on some of the plays in the flat and perimeter runs. I mean, there's an asset there. He rotated with UG3, who did pick up some defensive snaps in his first game back. So, again, there's just the overall lack of second-half adjustments. I mean, do I still have the article up? Yeah, the quarterback rating for Alex Smith and Josh Allen the first half of the last two games is 57.1. The quarterback rating for both those guys in the second half of the last two games is 113.8. 3 touchdowns in the second half, no touchdowns in the first half. I mean, it's just, they're just not adjusting well. And I know some people will say, well, the defense is tired and they're missing some guys, and some of that is true. But if you look at the time of possession in the Washington game, it was pretty much even. If you look at the Buffalo game, it was pretty much even until the last drive. I mean, listen, I know that the offense was probably not going to win this game and rally, but the defense allowed a 7-minute drive to end the game. They never got the ball back, and
right.
that just I mean, it was however many plays, 8 plays. 50 yards, 7-minute drive to finish that one out, and that one's a killer.
There was a big 3rd and 10. When was that 3rd and 10 play that they allowed them to convert?
In the second half.
In the second half, yeah. When I think it was the Steelers got it within 8, right? Didn't they get it within 8 at that point? And then there was a big 3rd and 10 that was kind of a.
So McKenzie across the middle.
Yeah.
10 minutes left. Yep, that one was a killer.
That was a killer, and then letting Josh Allen get out of the escape the pocket and get out on one of those was a killer. In I think that was what. That
was another third down.
Was that third down?
Mm-hmm. On the Steelers 36, so they don't convert there. You got a long field goal attempt to try to make when not great weather conditions. I mean, you lost possession downs, both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
What went the 3rd and 11 with 5:52 left? 3rd and 11 at the Buffalo 28. Knox. Was that the one you were trying to reference?
No.
Remember that one?
I do, but that was a 2-possession game. I mean, they also, I think Allen escaped the pocket on that play, but at that point it's a 2-possession game. But the one that was the killer is the one you mentioned. 3rd and 10, 10:41 left. Allen complete to McKenzie for 12 yards.
That was killer. That was a killer play.
Because if you force a punt there, you get the ball back. It's a 1-possession game, lots of time. And I mean, the Steelers ran, what is it here? 3 plays in the last 12 minutes of the game.
Oh.
And so again, I know the offense stunk and they were probably not going to rally in this one, but defensively the second half, they were not getting off the field, and that is one reason why their snap count is up and why they're looking tired and gassed out there.
They had the oh Lord, here's a stat for you. Wow. 19 plays in the second half the Steelers offense ran.
And I know that was some of their own inefficiency, but the defense did not get stops either. So we can't put that all in the offense.
Right. And the Bills ran, take your shoes off here, Alex, 12 and 5, 17. What's 17 and 24? 31 plays? 17
and 24 is more than 31.
Wait.
41.
12, 17, 17, and 24.
41.
41 plays the Bills ran in the second half to the Steelers 19.
Lord, my God.
Wow.
That is brutal.
I just realized that.
I did not know that stat either. Yeah, again, 3 plays after the touchdown and the 2-point conversion that made it an 8-point game. Pittsburgh ran 3 plays the rest of the game.
Holy cow! I didn't realize that. I just did.
Yeah.
Did it feel like it?
I mean, kinda. I mean, they got beat up on in the fourth quarter, and Buffalo converted on possession downs. Looks like they were probably 2 or 3 on that drive. The Buffalo got the ball back on third downs. The next drive they went 3 of 3, I think. So they were, what is the math there? 5 of 6 on third down after Steelers made a 1-possession game. I mean, anyway, you get the point. I mean, never had the chance to get back in the game really.
Right. So I mean that's shared blame there.
Yeah, and so we'll put a lot of blame on offense, and Ben was bad, and the offense was bad, and the run game sucks. But I mean, the defense has their woes too, and Hayward said they were crap after the game, and hard to blame them.
In the third quarter alone, the Steelers ran 6 plays.
And they ran
in
the third quarter.
Okay. In the third quarter, the Steelers ran 6 offensive plays, and the Bills ran 17. And then in the fourth quarter, it was 13-24.
And from a time of possession standpoint, I mean, Pittsburgh probably had the ball for 4 minutes maybe in the game. Probably 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Not long at all.
I'd be curious to know what those numbers are. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but only
okay.
Slightly.
Here you go. 116 and 130. That's 246. Okay. And then they had it for another 530.
So just call it 8.
534.
It's about, I'm rounding here, but about 8 minutes.
Okay.
So that's 22-8 in time of possession in Buffalo favor. Yeah, I mean, again, offense has a lot of problems, but defense second half, Washington and Buffalo, it's been bad. I mean, that's just the reality.
All right. I mean, is special teams even worth talking about?
Kick coverage wasn't very good. Andre Roberts is a really good return man, so I wasn't shocked by it, but obviously it's not at the level Pittsburgh needs it to be. Barry was fine, I guess. Boswell only had the 1 kick, the extra point, and that was it for him. So not much to discuss there.
Not much to discuss at all. All right.
Why did Ray run that first kick out?
I don't know.
I think it needed to do.
Yeah, you put your offense already. I'm a big fan, man. Unless you catch that thing, unless you're right at the goal line, or maybe a yard in, if you catch the ball there, there's no sense to take it out. I don't think. I mean, to me, the risk is a risk worth the reward, versus a touchback.
Mostly not. I mean, he was 6 yards deep. Momentum's going backwards.
Of course, I say that he'll run 1 back in this next game. But
I'll be happy if you're wrong about that.
But all right, where are you? Where are you on this team?
I mean, they got big problems. I mean, obviously, we're all aware of that. I'm rarely as apocalyptic as some fans are going to be, and this team's never going to win a game again, and they suck, and the season's over. I mean, things can turn around. There's ebb and flows to the season, but as I said earlier, to the big issues for this offense specifically, the lack of a run game, the no vertical game. I mean, how do those things get fixed? I'm simply out of ideas.
I can look. Here's the thing when it comes to teams in playoff, their defense is still good enough to win a championship, I think. But obviously got to play better than they did, especially in the second half of that game against the Bills. But here's the thing. When you get into the playoffs, your offense generally has to cover for the defense at least in 1 game. I've just seen that as a whole, just analysis over the years. Usually your offense has to help win you 1 game, and right now you wonder if the Steelers offense can cover for the defense in that 1 game. Let's say against the Bills, next time around. And that's the big worry right now.
Yeah, for sure. You're not seeing good complementary football. That's my overall takeaway here. The defense has done well in the first half. Steelers offenses overall for the season tend to play better in the second half, not as of late, but just overall. And lately, seeing the defense wane in the second half.
Who are you most worried about playing? This team playing in the playoffs?
I haven't even put myself in that headspace yet. I mean,
well, they're in the playoffs, so
yeah. No, I know, but I'm just trying to get to the regular season and see who they face. I mean, any of these teams are gonna, with the way Pittsburgh's playing and with their poor performances and their struggles, really any team they face is going to be able to give them fits, and certainly is going to be able to beat Pittsburgh in their current state. So you can kind of pick a team. I mean, there are the teams that are going to give them more problems than others. Sure, I don't have a great list off the top of my head right now, but just on its face, Pittsburgh's own issues are going to be a problem no matter who they face.
Yeah, they more than anything they got to get, and it's probably not going to happen at this point. I mean, if you can't run the football, you can't run the football, and they just can't. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I think you put in DMs last night. They need to draft all offensive linemen, and they might have to because it's going to be hard to get some of these guys back. And look, do you even want Filer back now?
I was just going to say, you want some of these guys back.
I told you I didn't think Filer was going to be back, and now unless he's back on a minimum contract, I mean, you're not going to pay that guy any money, even to be a tackle.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the line
Dotson.
looks like.
Dotson's going to be your left guard.
Yeah. I've never disputed that. Dotson's going to be your left guard next year. The question is just would Filer kick back out to right tackle if you lose Villanueva? Does Okorafor go to left tackle, Filer to right, and that's how you do it. I mean, it's looking less likely now than it was before, but we'll see exactly how the season ends.
All right. We've been on this an hour yet, and what was positive, if anything? Red zone 2 for 2.
Yeah, red zone 2 for 2. Washington played well. JuJu got a little bit more vertical in this game, which was nice to see. I thought Hayward, that bull rush is just my favorite move in football. But yeah, it's just not a lot.
Avery Williamson, at least on the surface, we'll see what the all-22 says on that. Communication for the most part seemed okay.
Yeah, I didn't see any major coverage busts. So that was, I guess, good.
All right. Obviously, we haven't been able to go through this game like we really want to. We will by the end of the day. But what else? Should we...
The best silver lining is the Bengals are coming up. Not that I'm going to assume anything, but there's a team you want to play right now when you're looking your wounds. It's probably the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, and plus you get your longest break that you've had since that messed up Thanksgiving week here. So
that's true.
Look, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I set them guys off and said, see you Tuesday. For the sheer fact that I just don't want to look at you. Right now. So,
or aren't league offices closed anyway? You can't even meet in person on Monday, Tuesday.
That might be the stipulation anyway. Might have to do it virtually anyway right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a permanent rule, if that was just post Thanksgiving, but I thought the league had instituted that everything has to be virtual on Mondays and Tuesdays now.
Well, regardless, that's good unless the guys need treatment, I guess.
Yeah, right.
So that's good. You get the extra day now. To prepare. You got a Bengals team that Brandon Allen, I think, hurt his knee late in that game.
So they can play Ryan Finley maybe.
Yeah, so Finley's going to play. I don't know when did Mixon go on IR for them, or is he? What's this? Is he about to come off now, or?
I think he might be eligible, but I don't know. The injury's been weird because they said it wasn't going to be long term. He was going to be fine, and then he's been out for several weeks now. So I mean, they might just say, you know what, we're not going to rush this guy back. Let's just punt.
They had Fred Johnson at left tackle yesterday.
At left tackle?
Yes, sir.
I took a second to process. I thought you were going to say left guard. I watched Fred Johnson play left tackle in camp. It was not a pretty sight. So good Lord.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I believe you. How in the world did that happen? I know Jordan Williams is hurt. He's on IR, but
yeah, they benched Michael. Who's the other offensive line? Johnson.
I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, they are a mess. Their offensive line is a mess, and so yeah, I mean that they're in bad shape. This is a bad Bengals team. So
there was and the Steelers' only wins in 1933, I believe, came over the Cincinnati Reds. And there was an article in the paper that said, more games with Cincinnati, that's what Pittsburgh needs. More games with Cincinnati, that's what the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you better win that one, right?
Yeah, God, if you lose that one, we're not doing a show on Wednesday if they lose that game.
Well, don't be so quick. No,
you can do a show.
I think they should be able to be. They better be. I mean, you want an opportunity to get yourself at least a little bit of positive here. You better win that one.
Oh yeah, the other side I want to get for the offense. The Steelers have scored 6 points in the first quarter of their last 4 games, and that came on Robert Spillane's pick 6. So they've scored 0 points on offense in the first quarter of their last 4 games.
Yeah, you got to start faster. I mean, it's just that's just yeah. I mean, there's a lot of little things here going on.
Yeah,
a lot of little things that become a lot of big things now. All right, enough spinning the wheels here. Let's get to these nasty emails here. I wonder if there's how many people want me to die this morning.
Please don't send those emails today. That's
Anthony Morgan writes in, question, not sure if I should be optimistic or not, but is there any chance this pedestrian offense has counters and plays that go off of it and they aren't showing them? Similar to how Kansas City has multiple plays off of every play. It seems like more double moves, more fake screens. I saw the one they threw the seam to Ebron on, or is the offense lacking creativity and foresight? The offense is lacking execution first and foremost.
Yeah, they're not even just getting the basic plays run right to run some of the constraint plays off of it. And I promise if they're hiding something, I don't know why, because it'd be a good time to show it, given the way this offense has been. So I don't think there is no magical solution behind door number 3. This team just hasn't shown you yet. Look,
you got to be able to have some element down the field, and they don't have that. And you don't have the other end of it either, which is running a simple running play that can get you 7 yards, 6 or 7 yards. Heck, I'd settle for 5 yards now, man. And they had how many runs? They had 17 runs, and how many of those did I say were successful? 6 of 17.
And I think it was about the same last week against Washington.
Yeah, what was the long? 7 yards last night? I mean, look, you don't expect explosive runs, but, man, you'd like to have 3 or 4 of them go 7 or more yards, A couple of them maybe flirt. Go ahead.
When was the last run over 10 yards? It wasn't against Washington because the long in that one was 9 by McFarland. Wasn't last night.
It had to be Connor going off left side against somebody, wasn't it?
At Jacksonville? He didn't play against Baltimore. Oh, I got to look this up here. I'm going to make myself really depressed today.
I think it was Connor over there off the left side. Maybe a couple runs had 16 or 17 yards, wasn't it?
I mean, look here. I mean, obviously these aren't shocking given how bad we've discussed the run game in, but good Lord.
When's the last explosive run that they had?
Okay. Last season? Week 1? I don't know, man. It's...
Are you working the machine?
I am efforting, as you would say right now. Last run of 10 plus yards, not even explosive necessarily, just 10 plus yards was December 2nd against the Ravens. Benny Snell had 13 and 10. So they've got 2 runs over the last, what is that now? 3 games of 10 plus yards.
When was the last explosive run?
20, and that would
20 yards
against Jacksonville, November 22nd.
Was that the McFarland one?
No, Connor had a couple against the Jaguars, 2 for 17 and 1 for 25.
Yeah, once again, you don't expect explosive runs, but you'd like to see a handful of them go 12 or 13 or 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, back to the email machine. Christopher Parks writes in, I know it bothers you to talk about this, but what would it save us on the cap if we cut Ben at the end of the year? If it is enough to pay for JuJu and Hilton, I think it's something they should consider. If they don't win This year, the window will be closed. Thanks, Chris in Minneapolis via Dormont. Well, you say what? 19? What did we say? $19 million in cap space there with Ben. He's got a $15 million. Hold on a minute here. Let me pull up his deal real quick. With Ben, he is due a $15 million roster bonus on March the 17th, which is the third day. So not only do you have to cut him, if you're going to cut him, you have to make the decision to cut him by the middle of March. You save that $15 million roster bonus, and you save the $4 million base salary set to earn. So you save $19 million in cap space. But then, what are you going to do at quarterback? You're not going to go out and spend any of that money on anybody right out of the chute. So it's going to be Mason Rudolph and probably Dobbs for you. And okay, so you got JuJu back in the fold. What have you accomplished there? So
yeah.
But if you come to the determination that Ben's done, if he's done, he's done. But I'm not ready to go there yet. But
yeah, we went down that road before and realized that he still had more to do. And again, I know it's bad right now, but I don't want to be a person at the moment either.
I mean, look, you would think that unless he's done, which I don't think he's there yet. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out.
He would make the decision to retire before they would say we're cutting you.
I mean, are you leaving his contract alone right now? During the off season, is it as slam dunk as we once thought? Maybe that he gets an extension.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't know. I just want to see how the season ends, how everyone finishes up, how the team finishes up. They could go on a Super Bowl run, totally change their minds. They could lose every game, and that would totally change the direction of things in our prediction. So I let those questions happen after the season ends.
Jeff Dudash writes in, "Hi, Dave and Alex. During the telecast, Chris Collinsworth started to talk about how the Steelers' offensive line shuffled their feet while engaged in blocks. He said that helps keep their legs from being rolled up. I don't know anything about O-line technique, and I've never heard an announcer talk about this. Is this typical technique? Because it seems like skipping linemen isn't a good way to get pushed. Nothing to see here or nothing to see here, or could this have something to do with the poor running game?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Every lineman's taught to drive their feet and run their feet, and your power is derived from your base. And if your feet are stagnant, then you're not going to get a push. So maybe there's something there. I felt like Collinsworth was kind of searching for an answer there, to be honest with you. Maybe these guys are on their toes too much, and that just caused them to pop up. I don't know, but I didn't feel like that was the root of the problem.
You see, people. Someone said, "See, I told you they should have drafted Jonathan Taylor, the running back and all." Look, I don't know if you saw the Jonathan Taylor big run. He could drive a damn truck. It looked like a lot of his runs at Wisconsin. You don't make sure you look at how it's happening, other than just it happened. On a lot of these, there is no room for these backs to run, period. And then on top of it, they're not making their own yards, let's say like a Cam Akers, okay?
Right.
On top of it. So you can put both those things together and you get 2-point-something yards per carry and a 38% run success rate. Jelani Suleiman writes in, "Thanks as always for great content and shows. Do you guys think the quick, short passing game could be due to the fact that there may be something wrong with Ben's elbow that we may not know of? It just doesn't make sense to me to keep going quick pass and dink and dunk when the teams are now jumping the passes. The running game being non-existent certainly doesn't help, but I think the deep pass to Washington I thought was underthrown, leading to a pick. What are your guys' thoughts? Thanks as always. Keep up the great." I don't think there's anything. I don't think he trusts himself to throw the ball down the middle of the field anymore. I think part of him getting rid of the football quick is I don't think he likes getting hit anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue with the elbow. I mean, they're asking the guy to throw 40-plus times game after game, so they're obviously not too worried about, the state of his elbow. The quick game has been the thing that worked. I mean, it was, look at the Baltimore game. And
go back to 2018. Where's everybody been? Why was nobody complaining about the short game in 2018, Alex?
Complaining about the short game?
Complaining about the short passing, the dink and dunk. Why was nobody complaining about the dink and dunk passing game in 2018?
I know we had talked about the lack of the deep ball and the Wi-Fi stuff, so I think it just got forgotten about because the focus is everything. We want to correlate everything to the injury as opposed to just how things were pre-injury as well. So I think we kind of lost that to time a bit. But overall, the quick game has been the only thing that's been working overall, and defenses are adjusting to it. But Pittsburgh has no other answer, and so they got to just kind of do what had been working for them.
When you go back to 2018 and maybe a little bit of 2017 as well too with this team, how many plays did Antonio Brown make? A, and B, how many did he make where it was long after 4 seconds and him turning a catch down the middle of the field after the play breaks down? How many were non-traditional plays? How many non-traditional plays has been, or how many non-traditional plays has been made this year? You see where I'm going with that? In other words, if the play doesn't break down,
Yeah, how many plays have been made?
And how many non-traditional plays has he made? Period.
Not many. Not many is the answer.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know what the number is, but it's not been many.
All right. I don't think it's his own. I just, you take away a guy like Antonio Brown that can make things happen after the play. You take the fact that Ben's not on target downfield right now and really hasn't been for a little while, and then the fact that he's not throwing down the middle of the field unless it's like a bang 8 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got nothing else to say on that one.
Sorry. All right, Todd Jitzler, what do you guys think Fichtner needs to do with the offense this late in the season? Without a running game, no deep ball connection, no pressing up the middle. Where does this team go? Can you scrap the W tire? I guess that's supposed to say entire playbook this late in the year and start over? No, you can't. Everyone from the sidelines to their TV see the direction and lack of adjustments. Les Samuel's in the game, but don't know where to start at this point. Make no mistake, this offense has potential everywhere, but injuries may limit it. Will we be one and done? He writes. I don't know about the one and done aspect of it, but I mean, the amount of practice, your offense is your offense right now. And that's why everybody who wants to fire Fichtner, and what are you going to do if you fire Fichtner right now?
I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, candidate, I guess, would take over. But
and what's he going to do?
Yeah, I don't pretend like, again, there's some magical answer here. This team's just hiding and waiting for the right moment to display. To the question though about what can this offense do, I don't know. We know the issues. They've been issues all year, for at least for several weeks now, and they have not gotten any better. In fact, they've gotten worse in a lot of ways, and so I don't know how it gets fixed.
Emilio writes in, quick knee-jerk reaction question after another head-scratching loss today. Why does the offense show no sign of adapting in-game? They persist with the underneath short passes, and defenses are just tackling the catch. I always hear about how good our O-line pass pro is, but to me, seeing how they try to attack teams says otherwise. Quick passes all under 20 yards. Looks like they don't trust the O-line to protect Ben long enough for some deeper routes to develop. Not asking for 50-yard bombs, but how does some intermediate passes working? How about some intermediate passes working the middle of the field? What do you guys think? Emilio is in Vancouver, Canada. Look, here's another smart thing that Leslie Frazier did for the Bills in the second half. They got a 2-possession lead, and what did they start doing?
Leslie Frazier, you're asking what the Bills defense started doing with a 2-possession lead? I'm not sure.
They started sending numbers after Ben. Make the ball come out quick then.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they play true to their identity. I was wondering if Buffalo's going to be a more blitz-heavy team, which is what they'd been all year, if they were going to play more passive against the quick game. But they were able to blitz and still impact the quick game. Usually defenses have been blitzing, have been getting burned by that, but Buffalo was able to find some sort of good medium between blitzing and setting pressure, but also taking away some of the quick game stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how they did that, but I'll take a look during the week.
Let's see. Bobby Price writes in about Chase Claypool. Thanks for taking my call. Curious your thoughts on Biden's sudden inability to get Chase Claypool involved in the offense, or at the very least enough volume to try and make plays with football in his hands. Weeks 8 to 12, he averaged 10 targets per game with 4 touchdowns. Last 2 weeks, the average number of targets cut in half, and pre-snap motion leading to jet sweep options have also all but disappeared. Well, look, you're not going to run that pre-snap motion when you're not running. I mean, that I've been wanting to see a little bit of that, more of that myself, and more than anything, run some damn pass. I've called from it from day one with this. Run some of that, run some two-man routes with this thing off some of this pre-snap motion, at least to maybe get keep defense off balance a little bit. Anyway, goes on to write, can't blame the lack of a run game as the main culprit, as the element of the offense has been anemic regardless. Could we be seeing the dreaded rookie wall, or is this purely opposing defenses taking that option away? Perhaps play calling. He's arguably the Steelers' best offensive weapon. I don't get it. Secondly, a bit random, but Alex, if your man crushed Danny Smith enough with the directional kickoffs, it's obvious Boswell and the coverage units are inept at effectively executing that play. Both occasions last night, the Bills started their possessions beyond the 30-yard line. Get a new gimmick. Appreciate all you guys do. Best content out there. Not even close. All right. Look, I mean, they're cutting Chase Claypool snaps for one.
Yeah, to the Claypool point, I would answer that in 2 ways. One is that James Washington playing more has taken a chunk out of Claypool snaps, and then also and this is a very Tomlin answer to give, but just the Steelers don't have the balls often. I mean, Claypool was on the field for 38 plays last night. That was 2/3 of the time. If you look at, let's say against Jacksonville, Claypool was on the field for 47 plays. That was only 62% of the offensive snaps. They're just not possessing the ball enough because they're not winning on third down 1-10 against Buffalo. So there's just simply less plays, less volume that would increase Claypool's snaps and targets and stats, etc.
That sounds very Tomlin.
I guess I could live that. I just gave you the Tomlin answer right there. But I mean, that is to that extent, it is true.
Let's let these people say their piece, Alex. Random comments. Dan Devlin writes in, hello, David Alex. Pray all is going well. Maybe I should not email during the game, but wow, who does Jalen Samuels have pictures of? Who had a worse game, Steelers wide receivers or the officials? It'll be nice to get some linebackers back healthy. Also, how do you both grade Chooks and Big Al this season? Are they performing above the line? Go.
Yeah. For the linebacker point, hope Vince Williams is feeling okay. Sounds like he's actually sick with COVID. He had been tweeting out some stuff, so who knows if he'll come back for the Bengals. But the first and foremost, want to just get him healthy first. I thought a core 4 has not been as strong in pass pro as maybe some of the numbers may suggest, and some people may be talking about. I think he goes up the inside too much. He's got a soft inside shoulder and sometimes oversets and gets beat on some inside counters. Neither have been good as run blockers, obviously. I think Villanueva has been really strong in pass pro. Maybe, again, not as strong as the 0 sacks allowed number may suggest. Chase Young got him up pretty good 2 weeks ago. But I think Villanueva has been maybe their best offensive lineman and certainly the most available offensive lineman, the only guy that has not missed a snap along that front 5 so far. Jalen
Samuels?
I mean,
yeah, I'm not fond of tight end Jalen Samuels.
I mean, I'm not going to beat up on the guy too much because I'm very critical of him in most moments. I mean, pass pro, it's bad, but it's not the reason why they lost last night.
What is he? What exactly does he do?
You doing a whole 2 Bob things here?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't very fond of that pick, and then I got amusement out of it. People calling him a tight end, and I mean, outside of one game against the New England Patriots,
Yeah, Yeah, obviously I'm not a fan either, but it really doesn't matter what running back is back there. The results are the same, and it's all unimpressive.
Let's end this one from Achilles Sosa Nava. I mispronounced that. It's clear that this line cannot give Ben more than 3 seconds, and when they do, Ben is not accurate enough with the ball, and when he is, our wide receivers drop the ball. Yeah, you about put the nail on it right there. Thanks for coming, everybody. Running game doesn't exist. There you go. He got that in there. I think he nailed it. Opposite wide receivers are wide open. We struggle to stop the run, and Watt doesn't deserve the Defensive Player of the Year, not by a long shot. It might be rebuilding time in Pittsburgh pretty soon. He says the Steelers are overrated. 2020 Steelers are overrated.
I don't know what TJ Watt did to you. I mean, he did not have a good game yesterday, but I mean, he's still a great player. I think that I don't want to be too much prisoner of the moment. I know this team has big problems right now for sure. No one's denying that, but we'll see. I mean, the team's going to be in the playoffs. They got some time here to get things righted. Maybe get a little bit healthier. We'll see what happens.
One last one. Sean Germanowski. Let's end on this one. Alex or D, for Stats of the Weird, let's count how many times James Conner trips and falls over that invisible line of scrimmage, whether he is touched or not. That count can match his jersey number, which is 30. We need a real running back or two if we are going to go more than one game into the playoffs. Go ahead and call me names for calling it like it is, Dave. Listeners are impressed by that nonsense. Okay.
This team's drafting the back next year. We both probably agreed on that coming into the season.
Just not in the first round.
Yeah, but could it be higher than we initially thought, where they feel like let's try to take a real feature back? Because obviously what Snell and McFarland, context is important, but they have not been particularly impressive.
They likely will again for a how many years in a row?
Yeah,
draft a running back.
Several years.
Just as long as they don't draft one in the first round.
But could it be as high as the second or the third?
It could be. But once again, it won't be in the first. It shouldn't be in the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you.
I mean, where does the tight end come in at?
Now, my thoughts there. I mean, I tweeted last night they need to draft one in the top 3 rounds. They've not done so since 2007. And that drought's got to end soon.
And what about a tackle?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of holes. I mean, for agency, all the guys that you're going to lose. A lot of holes to plug.
All right. So go ahead and call me names for calling it like it is, Dave. Okay. You're a name. Listeners are impressed by that nonsense. Okay. Thanks for emailing, Sean. All right. What else do we got, Alex? What are we doing tonight?
Yeah, we'll have our YouTube live stream over my YouTube channel. Just search my name, Alex Kozora, Dave and I. Yeah, that will not be a disaster. No, we're looking forward to talking to guys, talking to everyone. We didn't get to do this last week because of the Washington game. So Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, my YouTube channel, Dave and I talking for an hour, answering all your Steelers questions.
What are we going to be doing for the rest of the day? Watching the tape as soon as it comes out, I guess, and that probably won't come out but before a damn hour before we get on the YouTube Live and all like that. But anyway, Mike Tomlin, I guess we'll talk to the media on Tuesday. So we'll have to we'll be recapping that. Maybe we'll find something out about some of these injuries here within the next 24 hours or so. We'll just start trying to break it down as only we know how to do moving forward here. And Sean, running backs are fungible, dude. So take that for what you want. All right. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do, which probably several of you don't, but if you do, go to SteelersDepot.com, hit the donate button, up right navigational bar. Also, if you like an ad-free version of SteelersDepot.com, go to the site, hit the ad-free button, up right navigational bar for $25 for 1 calendar year. You can have an ad-free version of the site. We'll continue to cover the 11-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Boy, they doesn't seem like it, does it? But that's what we do, and that's what we'll continue to do for the rest of the season, no matter how good or bad it is. So in the meantime, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.